BN's got the fun one, because there's quite a few stories which I think would probably amuse you all. So unfortunately mine is basically just lots and lots of toast, so I'm going to turn it into a big drinking game, so I've got a bit of a history of that. So please, if anyone doesn't look like they're getting involved, you can get the shoe out on my authority. So before I start, my wife and I... We'd like to thank all our wonderful friends and family who've come here today to celebrate our wedding. It's an incredibly humbling experience when you have all the people you really care about most in the world gathered in one place for your special day, and it means the world to us. We've got a number of guests who've travelled far and wide. We have Steffi and Remy who've come all the way from Paris. We have Peter and Martin who've driven all the way from Amsterdam. We have Kirsty and Nicky who came all the way from Geneva. And we have Catherine, who actually left her husband Steve looking after the children in Boston, but basically came for a big weekend, and we're very, very grateful you made it all the way. We also have Sarah now, who came all the way from Yorkshire. For all the chewers and Holstons, this is not because Yorkshire's a bloody long way away, which it is. It is actually because they're emigrating to Australia and they should have left on the 1st of March. So currently they've sold their house and are homeless. All their worldly possessions are sat in some warehouse in Melbourne, fingers crossed.
Stop talking about it.
And for the last 5 weeks, they've been staying with various different friends and family, sofa surfing with their 2- and 4-year-old daughters, which frankly must have been a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, I was nodding. But thankfully they made the sacrifice so they could be here today. Now Sarah, I know that Nicky said it wouldn't feel like a wedding day if you weren't here, and it's just brilliant that you are, and you've made that sacrifice to be here. We wish you all the best in your new life down in Australia. Your flight's on Monday, have a safe flight, and most importantly, we look forward to visiting you. Now we also have some absent family. There's Nana Chua, the grand old age of 97, who frankly should have given Nicky and I some dancing lessons, and she would have ripped up the dance floor, but it's a bit too far for her to come tonight, so unfortunately she couldn't make it. We also have some absent friends who I'd probably label as the breeders. They either got jiggy at B&B's wedding in Seville, or they got a bit frisky during the London 2012 Olympics. But those who can't make it, Philip Loss, Lidge and Ginny, Rob and Ali, Paul and Jess, Helena and Thomas, Corinne and Angus, and Louisa Montgomery, who somehow gave Tom a pink ticket to be here today. We wish you all the best with your new arrivals, which are either just happened or just happening next week. And very sorry you can't be here. We look forward to catching up with you. Nicky and I, we don't muck around either, so unfortunately we didn't have too much time from invites going out to when the actual wedding day. Sam in New Zealand, Shell and Steve in Australia, and Darryl and Anne weren't able to make it. Again, it's a good excuse to go down under. So if you don't mind, raise your glasses to absent friends and family. On to thanking the parents, to my mum and dad. I was actually really struggling to put into words what I wanted to say to you today. And so, as you know, I took all the family photo albums, I digitised them, and I got very, very sentimental when I was looking through them. And one thing became very, very clear to me. It's an absolute miracle that I haven't been gay. You have some photos on your tables. I think you'll all agree I had some seriously colourful outfits when I was younger. Not least of all some of my favourites, the little Bavarian. We also had the fairy and the cowboy. You then encouraged me to sing at school and were incredibly proud when I became head choir boy. And Mum, you walked me into Wokingham to W.H. Smith, age 9, to buy my first music tape, which was Kylie. You've given me a lifelong love of musicals, and yes, Dad, my favourite film in the world is still Singing in the Rain. All of this pales into comparison. When I was 17 years old, and where's Sarah? I'll probably hear you laughing soon. It was your birthday party, and it was a fancy dress party. Now, I was struggling for inspiration, but fortunately Mum came up with a brilliant idea that I should go as Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians. Now, a few of you may have some of the photos on your table, and I'm deeply sorry if that put you off dinner. But basically, Mum got out her black lacy dress, her white fur coat, the pearls and the high heels. She then slapped a load of makeup on me. It looked like a chimpanzee had mugged me with a makeup bag. And packed me off in a taxi off to Sarah's. A lot of people were horribly damaged by what they saw that night. Not least the taxi driver, who to this day, every time I go to Wokingham Station, he still is there and he always recognises me. And there's a little communication. From me it's shame, and from the taxi driver it's that he knows something very, very wrong happened years ago. Yeah, you're right, that was all mine. What I'd actually really like to thank you for, though, are the sacrifices you made to give me the opportunities I've had in life. And rather than going on lots of detail, the only way I can sort of prove that is a testament of all the friends who are gathered here. So, the guys I grew up with, the people I met at school, university, through to my life and times in London, and then my ski seasons and travels, but most of all, Nicky. Now, you've extended your love and generosity through to Nicky. I've been sort of showered love from the word go, and it makes me incredibly happy that you've done that to Nicky. You've welcomed her into our family, and it makes me incredibly proud to call you my mum and dad. Now, frankly, it's been pissing it down today, and you should be in San Diego in 30 degrees weather with all your friends from school at their wedding. And I couldn't believe it when I phoned you up and you instantly cancelled your flights and hotels and the amazing mountain biking and hiking, all the fun things you have planned so you could be here today. Thank you, it does mean a lot. I'm also incredibly proud of the achievements you've made. You definitely are the brains of the family, and I'm really glad that you managed to shine ahead of my tutu with all your PhDs, doctorates, and God knows what else. Too many letters for me to count. And I'm incredibly excited about the futures which you and Alice are building together. To our new parents, Willis and Mary. Now, as Willis said, I tend to come across quite confident, but actually I was incredibly nervous and a little scared when I first met you. It was only about 2-3 months into our relationship, and we were staying at the Inn Hornby, which was my idea of a romantic weekend away, and didn't quite realise it was 5 miles away from your mum and dad, so we met them a bit sooner than planned. Nicky thought she'd better inform me a bit more about who was who and what was what, and she told me that a bit about her surname, Chua, which for any of you who are French, 2A in French means to kill. The other reason why I was a little bit nervous was actually I knew at that stage that I was going to be meeting my future parents-in-law. So turning up at the door. So turning up at the door, I was very nervous, but they disappeared very quickly. I had a wonderful big Yorkshire welcome, which includes seconds of main course and dessert. And I thought, that's a family I want to be part of. So Willis, as you said, thank you for going easy on me when I asked for Nicky's hand in marriage. It must be incredibly disappointing to have the third soft southerner come all the way up to the flat to take one of your daughters back down south. Fortunately for me, you said yes, but I promised to live up to your expectations and look after her and protect her. Occasionally she may look after me, because she's a tough one, but yeah, thank you very much. So Mary, you've been wonderful to me from the word go, but actually what I'm most happy of is that you actually managed to keep your mouth shut. Now where this comes from is when I proposed to ask Willis for Nicky's hand in marriage, I decided it was probably a good idea that Mary was in the room, because otherwise Willis would have endless questions about what did he say, what did he look like, how did he talk. So Mary was there, and after Willis said yes, she planned the wedding in about 3.5 seconds. So she worked out the bridesmaids' dresses, what we're going to be eating, you know, what the songs were going to be, and of course at that stage I had to tell her that Nicky didn't know I was there. I hadn't even asked for her hand in marriage, and this had to be a great big secret. Now, she's not very good at keeping secrets away from her girls, as many of you know. Unfortunately, I was coming up for Christmas, and it meant that we had the Christmas Eve party. I was a bit nervous that Mary may let slip, so I had the engagement ring burning a hole in my pocket. But thankfully, Kev put me at ease with an awful lot of port and wine, and chilled out. But what it meant was, Mary, it meant that I could actually propose to Nicky in a way that I dreamed about 5 months previous. I'd organised the picture, which you all saw. And so, underneath the Christmas tree, to Mariah Carey. Can you be in my pocket? So, thank you very much, Mary, for making that happen. To Steve, Helen and Carol Ann, it's been great to get to know you and your families over the last year. I must admit, the way you unleashed your children on me means that you obviously see me as cheap childcare. But remember, tables can get turned. So if you don't mind all being upstanding and toasting our parents, they've been incredibly generous to make tonight happen. And I think we all agree that the food's been phenomenal, the wine's been great, and most importantly, the party's going to be fantastic. So to the parents. Now Nicky's been giving me funny looks for the last 7 minutes, so I haven't talked about her enough. But unfortunately, this is, I know, but fortunately this is where it turns to you. Now, it's not just me, but I think practically all of my friends would never believe that I would be standing here in front of you with my perfect girl and I'd be married. And this has come from 3 very, very big slices of luck. The first was when I handed in my notice at work in October 2011, and they put me on gardening leave straight away. I'd fortunately been to Nepal in April and had an amazing time and fallen in love with the mountains and climbing up to Everest Base Camp. And so that evening on the train home, I decided that, yeah, I've got to go back there again. So by the morning, I booked a flight to Kathmandu 4 days later, and I was also then off to then climb Mira Peak, the Amphilapsa and Island Peak. So for all of your tables, by the way, they relate to different places from this trip. Nicky at the same time was on a year out, and she also decided to climb Mira Peak, the Amphilapsa, and then Nicky being Nicky, Barinse, which is an awful lot higher than anything I climbed. So, weirdly, we're the only 2 teams of Westerners in that part of Nepal. It's a pretty random place, and we stayed in the same places. So those of you on Tagnag, you can see a picture of me standing there with Nicky's tent in the background, same at Kari. And then where we actually first spoke was on Mira Peak at about 1 p.m. It's probably about 5,500 metres, and it went something like this. Is it worth it? To which he responded, yes. I'm incredibly glad that we didn't actually get to meet out there, because unfortunately I picked up some horrific sickness and even worse diarrhea. And I would say that it was my worst moment of drop trowel, where every single bush, rock and place of moraine simply had me squatting behind it. Now, in life, you generally never get a second chance to make a first impression, but I'm incredibly glad that I did. Now, where that second chance came was actually at the hands of a 10-year-old. So Nicky and I both joined eHarmony. I had an interesting start to 2012, and I think Nicky was looking to sort of have a bit of fun in London after spending her time out. And she actually enlisted Becky, who's her 10-year-old niece, who's just sat over there, to help her filter through the wheat from the chaff. Now, Becky took her job very, very seriously because for a very long time she's wanted her auntie Lou to get married so she can wear a pretty dress and be a bridesmaid. And Becky very, very diligently searched through hundreds and hundreds of profiles and came out with a top 3. The guy with beautiful blue eyes, the bloke with a falcon, and then the guys with flowers around his neck. And yes, Mum, you guessed it, that nurturing paid off, because I was the guy with flowers around his neck. Fortunately for me, Nicky quickly thought, I wonder what else is underneath that. She clicked on the profile, and that's where she saw the picture of me on Mirror Peak. I then got a message through saying, when we were on Mirror Peak, I was there in November, and the rest, they say, is history. My third slice of luck is a bit of a weird one, but actually it's the fact that Nicky didn't commit suicide on our 5th date. Now, unfortunately, I'd given her cryptic clues as to what we were doing and where we were going, and I understand that's quite difficult for a girl to know what to wear, which at the time I was fairly oblivious to, but unfortunately Joe had to go shopping with Nicky, and I think you almost topped yourself by the end of it, but the dress she chose was fantastic and Nicky looked amazing in it. Again, very weirdly for me, introducing someone on the 5th date, we ended up seeing friends, Phil and Bloss, Lidge and Gilly, Yuri and Monty. Actually, Phil was a bit gutted. He was a bit disappointed when he first met you, which I was quite surprised at, but I had told him that I'd met you on the internet, and he was expecting a Thai bride and been warming up on his clothes. And then Nicky from North Yorkshire came in, he was like, "Get batty way above your league." So after that, we then headed off for some duck tours action, and then down the river to Tower 42. And it was at the top of Tower 42 that I told you I thought you were the most amazing, beautiful person I've ever met in my life. I couldn't believe how happy I was and that you were the most perfect person. And I thought I should just get down on one knee and ask you to marry me. Now, most people would be pretty freaked out by that. They would grab their glass, look you in the eye, drain it, have a Shackleton moment and say, I'm just going for a walk outside. Go for the easy option and plunge to their death. However, Nicky has made a sterner start, thankfully for me. She leant in and told me, I know, and kissed me. From that day on, she was also FMB, which stood for Future Mrs. Brunner. I'm a bit gutted I can't call her that, so I think we're going to have to go boot shopping so I can get that one back. Now, I know I do talk a lot, as Willis has mentioned. I quite like the sound of my own voice, unfortunately for you lot. But when you did walk down that aisle, I did have to seriously bite the bottom lip, and I was absolutely speechless. You told me you were going to be wearing a purple trouser suit to set me to sort of set me off, and actually that would have been quite cool. But I must admit, the dress you have is spectacular. I go dress shopping with Nicky every now and then. I give her scores, some of which are very nice, others are a little bit harsh. But this is the only time in your whole life that you'll ever get 11 out of 10. You look absolutely amazing tonight, and to me, you are today, as you were from the first time that we met, and actually for the rest of my life, the personification of absolute perfection. I certainly never believed in my wildest dreams that I'd get to marry my perfect girl and spend the rest of my life with you. This honestly is the absolute best moment of my life. So if you don't mind all being upstanding and making a toast to my absolute little wife, Nicky Brenner. Very, very patiently, but it's time for the bridesmaids to get their moments of glory. So Becky, Hannah, Sophie, Jessica, Isabel and Emily, I hope you don't mind waiting, because I know you wanted your auntie Lou to get married years ago, but hopefully I'm worth the wait. I promise that your birthday presents and Christmas presents will arrive on time. more importantly, there'll be less books and more fancy dress. You all look absolutely amazing tonight. I know Nicky's been thrilled to be able to buy you beautiful dresses so that you can have your hair done up as well to look so special, and she's absolutely adored you. Now, Joshy, it's pretty tough having a table of 6 girls and keeping them entertained, but you managed to do that as well as looking incredibly sharp. And I tell you what, if you manage to do that in 20 years' time, your future is very, very bright. Absolutely love to have you as our page boy. So again, tearing off the final toast to the wonderful bridesmaids, to the beautiful bridesmaids and wonderful page boy. And last of all, to my ushers, Charlie Brewer, Tom Monty, Charlie Monty, Peter and JC. You've been great mates over the years, and it's just been great that you've been able to help out today, so thank you very much. To Charlie Beer, my best man, I've made a bit of a mistake really, to be honest, because I thought you'd been in enough scrapes with me that you were implicated in most of them and I'd get away scot-free, but I then realised that we were married to B and it meant that you were able to say whatever you wanted, so I think I could be paying for that later. But thank you for the most amazing stand. It's incredibly thoughtful to remember the green dressing gown and the Sky TV control. And Paris was fantastic, and just gutted you couldn't make it because you're a bit unwell. And JC somehow managed to herd us and go us to the room. Now, I know you're itching to get on the microphone because you frankly have quite a lot of material. You don't just have notes, you actually have a file with you, which does freak me out a little bit. I was wondering how I could talk about TBN, which is Time Before Nicky, before CBN made a fool of me. And Tim actually came up with the genius idea that they were probably my experimental years. Like any good experiment, there's a method which I'd probably describe as fast and loose. There's an observation which frankly I'm dreading, and unfortunately it's all true. But most importantly, there's a conclusion, and that conclusion is you have the happiest man in the world standing in front of you with his gorgeous wife. And on that note, that's enough from me, and Nicky basically going to have the last word, so I'll let my wonderful wife take over. Thank you. By the way, anyone have money on me crying? I thought I did quite well there.
I'm quite surprised. That was good. So yes, I thought I'd break with tradition, and I tried to convince Mike it was just because I wanted to add my personal thanks to everyone, but it seems he has seen through it and saw that I just wanted to set precedent early on of me getting the last word in the relationship. So he's seen through that. But I'd just like to add thank you to everyone for coming. It really is quite overwhelming to have everyone here for our special day, just here to see us. It's awesome that you're all here and that you've travelled so far. Mike's done a lot of the thank yous, but particular thanks to Catherine for coming all the way over from Boston, and major thanks to Sarah and Al for delaying their emigration to Australia. I must admit, I had a sneaky suspicion that Mike was going to propose at some point along the way, and when Sarah and Al announced that they were emigrating, I think it was about October or September last year that they announced it. And very selfishly, my absolute first thought was, I bet we end up getting married next year and you're not going to be there. It just wouldn't have been my wedding day without you here, so I'm really glad that you are. And so Sarah and Joe have been, along with Helen and Carol Ann, kind of my unofficial bridesmaids. They get to wear different pretty dresses, and they do drink slightly more champagne, it seems. That's good. We're on a mission to drink through it, so it's all good. But thank you so much to you all for your support, and thank you mainly I think to Sarah for arranging my hen do, which was very good fun, and I survived, which is good, and there was lots of gin involved, which for anyone who knows me well will know that was a major win. And thank you, I think Jo does get particularly special thank you for having lived through that shopping trip, which was the shopping trip from hell. But I think, to be fair, Mikey on our 5th date had arranged this beautiful date, but basically told me that we were going for a lunch, I think, in a pub in Clapham with some friends, followed by a duck tour, which is what I wanted. I did want a duck tour, so that's fine. A duck tour in London in the afternoon, and then on for dinner and cocktails or something. And my first question was like, what the bloody hell am I going to wear to that? So it was a bit of a mission trying to find the dress that went from pub lunch to duck tour to cocktail bar. So thank you, Jo, for living through that with me. Well, it turns out it was only about a 7, but it did the trick. It was enough. That dress doesn't come out all that often anymore, but it was okay, wasn't it? So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, it was good enough. Also thank you to my bridesmaids and my page boy down here who's popped along to say hello. Hello, Joshy.
Oh, he's climbing.
Yeah, he's climbing. Good. I'll spot you if you want, Joshy. But thank you to my beautiful bridesmaids, and thank you to Becky for the advice. When I was going, I think it was my 3rd date with Mike, and I was leaving from Helen's, and I put some jeans on and went downstairs, and Becky had a meltdown. She had this day in sight, and she wasn't going to have me mess it up by wearing jeans on the 3rd date. So I was promptly dispatched back upstairs to put on a different dress. Unfortunately, I think the dress that was chosen that day gets a 9, so... She also told me to have a good wash as well. I won't tell you when that is. So moving on to Mum and Dad, and thank you, Dad, for your very kind words. You make me sound quite accomplished. But yes, thank you so much, and thank you to Mum and Dad for bringing me up. You've really just given me the best start in life, invested in a good education, and just, I don't know, kind of brought me up and set me off and watched me do whatever I wanted. You've given me the foundations to go out and have all the experiences that I've had, and basically everything I've achieved has been on the grounds of that foundation that you made for me. So it's very much appreciated. Thank you also to both sets of parents for their very generous help in laying on everything that we have today. It's been an awesome day, and I hope everyone's enjoyed it. But there's a big chunk of assistance there from both sets of parents, and that's amazing as well. And thank you to Mum for all her emails. She's fully IT literate now and on an iPad. As she said at one point, she did say in one email, "You'll wish you'd never get me set up on this email thing." But she's been great in kind of helping out with all the